Chapter 1. The Midnight Call. The soft, golden light of the kitchen cast a warm glow over Frank Cannon as he carefully checked the oven. His famous spinach souffle was rising perfectly, a culinary masterpiece that always brought him a sense of profound peace. The world outside was quiet, the city of Los Angeles wrapped in a gentle nighttime slumber. Frank smiled, anticipating a quiet, delicious evening. Suddenly, the shrill ring of the telephone shattered the tranquility. Frank wiped his hands on a pristine white towel and walked over to the receiver. "Hello," Frank said, his voice deep and welcoming. "Hello, Frank. It is Hal. Hal Jones," the voice on the other end replied. Frank chuckled warmly. "Oh, Hal, how are you doing, my friend?" "I've got a problem, Frank," Hal said, his voice uncharacteristically tense. "What is wrong?" Frank asked, his demeanor instantly shifting from a relaxed chef to a concerned friend. "Look, we are buddies, right? In the same business," Hal explained, his words tumbling out in a rush. "I need some professional advice." "Where are you?" "In a phone booth," Hal replied. "Look, I've got myself into one heck of a jam trying to help out a client. May I talk to you in confidence?" "Sure," Frank said without hesitation. "But not over the phone. You know, I am only a few minutes away from you." "I know," Hal said. "Well, look, I just put a spinach souffle in the oven. Why do you not come up here and share it with me? We can talk everything out." "I will be right up," Hal said, a trace of relief entering his tone. "Thanks, Frank." Frank hung up the phone with a reassuring smile. Hal was a good man, bright and dedicated. Whatever the trouble was, they would figure it out together over good food and logical thinking. Time passed. The souffle was nearing perfection, but Hal had not arrived. The phone rang once more. Frank hurried to answer it, expecting Hal to apologize for being delayed by traffic. "Hello? Hal, is that you?" Frank asked. "Who is this?" An older, distinctly gentle voice inquired. "This is Frank Cannon. Who am I talking to?" "This is Hal's father, Mr. Barnaby Jones," the older man said. There was a profound, quiet weight in his voice. "Hal is gone, Frank. He was taken from us last night." Frank felt the breath leave his lungs. "Oh, Mr. Jones, I am so sorry. Give me a minute to process this." "Why were you calling?" Barnaby sighed, a sound carrying years of wisdom and a father-us enduring love. "Well, Hal called me last night. From a payphone." "What time?" "I guess it was about 11:45, Barnaby recalled gently. "He said that he was in some kind of trouble. He did not specify what kind. He just said he wanted to talk to me, and I told him to come on up to my place. He said he would be right over." "I will be right over to see you," Frank offered immediately. "No, wait a minute." "Hold on," Barnaby said, his mind already working with the sharp precision of a seasoned investigator. "Are the authorities there?" "They are here," Frank confirmed. "Then why do we not meet at Hal's office before they get there?" Barnaby suggested. "I am on my way." "All right," Frank agreed, hanging up the phone. A deep sense of resolve settled over him. He was going to help Barnaby find the truth. Chapter 2. The Old Office. The investigative office felt like an old, trusted friend to Barnaby. Stepping through the familiar doorway, a wave of beautiful memories washed over him. The sturdy wooden desk, the neatly organized files, the subtle scent of old paper and fresh coffee. There are not many places like this left, Barnaby mused aloud as Frank walked in behind him. 4 years ago, when I retired, I calculated I had lived exactly half my life out of this office. He walked over to the desk, tracing his fingers along the polished wood. Hal used to love this place. He used to come here as a boy. Worked his way through the University of Southern California. He used to study here at night, right in my desk. Sometimes right in here. Frank smiled softly, watching the older man find comfort in the memories. "He was incredibly proud of you, Barnaby." "Oh, I used to give him some help now and then." Barnaby chuckled softly, a fond twinkle in his eye. "Chemistry, clinical psychology, forensic medicine, criminology. Those were my specialties, you know." "I know," Frank nodded respectfully. "When you turned the business over to Hal, he did not change a single thing. He honored your legacy. Frank took a step forward, his expression earnest. Barnaby, I would like your permission to take on this case. I would consider it a personal honor to find the person responsible for this. Barnaby turned, looking at Frank with deep appreciation. That is very generous of you, Canon, but this is something for me to do. He reached into a drawer and pulled out an old, well-maintained investigative notebook. Here is another old friend. Only had to use it once in 28 years. Look, Barnaby, I am going to be blunt with you, Frank said gently. You have been in retirement for 4 years now. You said that yourself. Yes, Barnaby replied, his eyes sparkling with renewed energy, but the old reflexes are still as sharp as a tack. You ever work on horses, Canon? Only at the $10 betting window, Frank joked, trying to keep the mood light. Do not remind me of it. What about Hella's wife, Betty? Frank asked, shifting to a more serious note. I suppose she is going to be needing your help now. Yes, I thought of that, Barnaby nodded thoughtfully. But the more I think of Betty, the more resolved I am to solve this puzzle myself. Canon, you may be the best in the business, but I did all right for myself for 28 years, and Hal was my son. I owe it to his memory to finish the work he started. Okay, Frank conceded, admiring the older man's unshakable spirit. Which is not to say that I might not need your help. What case was Hal working on? Do you know? No, I doubt it is written down, Barnaby said, tapping his temple. We will find out, though. He was as uncomplicated as I was. Carried everything right here in his head. Barnaby began flipping through a desk calendar. Let us see. He went to a party the night before last, on Thursday, hosted by somebody by the name of Terry McCormick. Terry McCormick, Frank repeated. That is the lawyer who is running for Congress, correct? Yes. Hal did some work for him a couple of years ago on an industrial espionage case. McCormick has kept him on retainer ever since. Have you ever heard of a young woman by the name of Karen Armsby? No, Frank said. Who is she? Barnaby held up yesterday's newspaper. It says right here that she worked on McCormick's campaign staff. She passed away recently, ruled a tragic accident. 1 day apart from Hal. I think we have our first clue, Frank. Chapter 3. The Political Charade. The campaign headquarters of Terry McCormick was a bustling hive of optimistic energy. Volunteers handed out brightly colored flyers, and telephones rang with continuous cheerful jingles. Terry McCormick stood at a podium, flashing a polished, brilliant smile to a room full of reporters. So, on behalf of my campaign co-workers and myself, I would like to say that we are deeply gratified to learn that we have moved ahead in the polls, Terry announced smoothly. A reporter in the front row raised a hand. Let me ask a question, Mr. McCormick. Some commentators attribute your surging popularity to your free-spending campaign style. Terry chuckled gracefully. Well, Mr. Russell, let me say this. I have contributed considerable resources of my own to this campaign, but I believe that my exposure has not communicated my personal means to the voters as much as it has my spirit of commitment to the community. He checked his watch and smiled. I think that should do it, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you very much for your time. See you all in Washington, I hope. As the crowd dispersed, Barnaby approached the candidate. Mr. McCormick, I apologize for the interruption. I have a heavy schedule this afternoon, but I am Hal Jones's father. Terry's polished demeanor faltered for a fraction of a second before he adopted a mask of deep sympathy. Please come into my office. We will not be disturbed. Once the door was closed, Terry sighed. I only heard the news on my car radio as I was driving in. I cannot tell you how shocked I was. All of us who knew Hal felt so startled. Yes, Barnaby said softly. Everyone liked him. Almost everyone. I do not want to take too much of your time, Mr. McCormick, Barnaby continued, his sharp eyes taking in every detail of the opulent office. Do not you worry about my time, sir, Terry said magnanimously. Here, please, come sit down. Tell me if there is anything at all that I can do for you. Yes, you might be able to help me a great deal, Barnaby said, taking a seat. You see, I am investigating the events surrounding Hal. When was the last time you saw him? Well, as a matter of fact, He came to a party at my house in Malibu last Thursday night, Terry answered readily. Really? A big party? I do not suppose there were more than 25 or 30 people. It started out as a simple get-together for some of the members of my campaign staff, and it just grew. It is fortunate that my wife and children are in Aspen visiting her parents, or it would have been quite crowded. Was Hal working for you at the time? Barnaby inquired gently. Well, the answer is yes, but it was just routine campaign security. Nothing out of the ordinary. Were you having problems? No, not at all, Terry assured him. I invited Hal simply to meet the other members of my staff. He was a wonderful young man. I wonder if it would be possible for me to have a list of the other guests who attended the party, Barnaby requested with a polite smile. Certainly. I will have my secretary make out a list for you this afternoon. Terry handed Barnaby a beautifully embossed business card. Here's my card in case you want to get in touch with me, for any reason. Call me Terry, please. Thank you, Terry, Barnaby said, standing up. Oh, by the way, I forgot to offer my condolences to you on the loss of the young lady who is working for you. Karen Armsby. Terry swallowed hard, his smile looking slightly strained. Thank you. Good luck on your investigation, Barnaby. Later that afternoon, Barnaby met Frank near a sunny park bench. How did he play it? Frank asked, sipping on a cup of warm coffee. He played it very close to the vest about the young lady, Barnaby noted, adjusting his jacket. Awful close. 2 people at the same party, both now gone. 1 day apart. Can you make a connection, Frank? It is quite the puzzle, Frank admitted. The medical examiner's report on Karen was pretty conclusive, but it leaves a lot of unanswered questions about how she got home that night. Exactly, Barnaby agreed cheerfully. And that is why we are going to keep digging. The truth has a funny way of refusing to stay buried. Chapter 4. Conversations and Revelations. The following day, Barnaby and Frank decided to split the list of party guests to cover more ground. Their focus turned to 2 actors who had been present at the gathering, Reed Carpenter and Marshall Eaton. Barnaby found Reed Carpenter at a television studio, fresh off the set of his latest police drama. Reed was young, charismatic, and seemed slightly annoyed by the interruption. Mr. Carpenter? Barnaby asked, approaching him with a friendly wave. I watch your television show every week. You do a wonderful job. Reed smiled, his ego instantly stroked. Well, it is not the greatest part in town, but at least it is a running role. Thank you. I think you're pretty good. I really do. And I am tough on those police shows, Barnaby chuckled. You see, I am sort of an investigator myself. A private one. Mind if I ask you a few questions? About what? Reed asked, his guard going up slightly. Hal Jones. I am his father. Oh, Reed said, shifting uncomfortably. I was at McCormick's party, but not for very long. Do you remember seeing Hal? Yeah, I saw him. But to tell you the truth, I do not remember much. I did not stay too long. You left early? Barnaby pressed gently. The young lady you took, Miss Armsby, wanted to stay a little longer, I assume? Reed sighed. Listen, I knew she was headed for trouble. She was distracted by another man. The host of the party, to be exact. Terry McCormick? Barnaby raised an eyebrow. You better believe it. I have heard that rumor myself, Reed said, offering Barnaby a mint from a small tin. Here, have a mint. They are good. Thank you. Barnaby smiled.